Greetings, Algo artisans. We're going to look at the data that's coming out this week and how it might affect markets. We're going to take a look at the charts for Bitcoin, USDJPY, Ethereum, Solana. We're going to jump into the data right now. Quick reminder that nothing we say in any of our videos, work, or website is to be used or construed as investment advice. Please consult a licensed investment advisor before risking your money on the markets because you can lose your money. It's risky. Okay, so we're looking right at forexfactory.com and we can see that there was some data that came out today. And as a matter of fact, the most prominent data was that Fed Chair Powell spoke, and he did indicate that he may cut rates for the prime rate, makes it down to 2%. No, we didn't know that, but that is dovish talk, which is going to affect the price. It's going to cause the dollar to get weak. Generally, that's what it's going to do. So we'll take a look at how that affects markets. Now on Tuesday, tomorrow at 8:30 AM EST, Canadian CPI is coming out. That's going to affect the Canadian dollar greatly. Most likely, even if the estimates are close to the reality, or at least what we're told is reality, that still might cause money to flow in from the sidelines, if nothing else. So I will be probably not trading the Canadian dollar at that time, or if I am, it would be a swing trade and not a day trade. And I might even tighten up my stops. Same time, the retail sales data is coming out for USD, and that, could be pretty powerful. Depends on how close to the estimates that is. New Zealand CPI comes out later in the evening at 6:45 PM EST, and Great Britain CPI is going to be a pretty big deal. Watch out for that if you're trading the pound. And Wednesday, there's unemployment data for the Aussie dollar at 9:30 PM EST, and for the British pound at the European Open, once again, employment data, or I should say unemployment data, and then some Euro news, and it's a pretty big Euro news. It's their version of the FOMC. So around 8:15 a.m., the Europeans are going to talk about their main financing rate, their main refinancing rate, monetary policy, and the US is going to come out with their unemployment data. And of course, 6:45 a.m. Mountain, which is 8:45 a.m. EST, we're going to go ahead and see the ECB press conference. So trading the Euro tomorrow in the morning before the New York Open might be tricky, but by the time the New York Open comes along, which is going to be 9:30 a.m. EST, which is about 1 hour after this data comes out, might actually be pretty volatile and good to trade. We're gonna have to see how that goes. I'm guessing the Open's gonna be good to trade, especially for the Euro. Now, the European data probably won't affect the rest of the markets. However, that USD unemployment claims, if it is way off from the estimated value, that could actually affect all markets, but it would have to be a pretty substantial differential there. Retail sales overnight, European Open. So pretty much every night, there's gonna be something at the European Open for the pound. And a lot of people are probably gonna look for the follow the bear trade. You can look that up if you wanna know what that is. Just Google it, follow the bear. It's a great trade for the pound. Basically, if price leads up to the open and it falls after the open, and there's a certain formula for it, you can pretty much just keep shorting and dropping your stop. It's a great trade. And at 8:30 AM EST, more Canadian data coming out. So trading the Canadian dollar might be something you have to be careful about. So definitely keep an eye on all of these news events. They're pretty substantial and they're happening at important times. Most of the overnight stuff is going to be for the British pound. So if you are trading the European session, I might be either avoiding the pound or waiting until at least the data came out and then taking advantage of the volatility associated with that. Okay, let's move to the charts. So we're looking at Bitcoin. The long that I took yesterday paid off. We talked about that in this morning's Algo Factory Live Lab that was free to the public. So I'm going to not go into too much detail. Long story short, we're looking at Bitcoin heading back up into this consolidation. And that consolidation took place going back all the way to March, and it may very likely head back up to this $72,000 area where we might see rejection or not. And we're going to see how price behaves up there if it even makes it that. Now I have outlined these yellow lines that are different to this morning. So basically these yellow lines are demonstrating where liquidity is. Now as of the moment, price is heading up. The algos like an upward move. It's a very bullish moment in the market. So I would expect for very soon, maybe in the next few seconds, this 64,900 area to be hit. It literally started to climb and pump right as I mentioned it. I would like to think I had a big enough audience to give people the FOMO, but absolutely not. I'm going to pretend that I'm that big of a baller that if I say, oh, it's going to go up and then price just nukes up. It happens once in a while. It's fun. In reality, though, if I were to bet, just based on what I see in the charts, whether or not we will see 60,000 or say 63,000 before we see 68, if I were to check between 63 and 68, I would have to look at the algos. Just the price action, I would say 68 first. But one thing about the price action is that there usually is a pretty stiff pullback, and there's a lot of liquidity built up to the downside. So before I were to just go long until 68, ideally I'd look for a pullback. Always that chance that we do not see a pullback. It does happen. Price just kind of climbs up, never gives you that entry, and that especially what happened with Bitcoin. However, there tends to be some kind of a pullback for a move up, and that might give the patient traders an opportunity. One of the reasons I'm thinking we might not see that pullback is because price blew right past this resistance that was created back here, or at this double top that occurred back in late June, and it just blew right past that, like it never existed. So that is a rather bullish moment there. Plus, there's a fair amount of liquidity for price to grab just based on this price action, and then of course the Kingfisher has the liquidations right here at this level. So I'd say here and up at 68.3, those are the most likely next two places price will go. Always a chance though that the market makers crash price down just a little bit to grab liquidity, and that is the risk that people take. That's the game. So algos are pretty good at giving us some clues on that though, and I will be sharing with Algo Factory the deeper details as to what I think is going to happen, and we'll talk about that like we always talk about it in our private live lab every day, Monday through Friday, and it's right after the public live lab. So algofactory.tech, come check us out. I did say the next would be USDJPY, so let's get into it. So USDJPY is interesting. I drew this trade earlier, and the reason I want to talk about this is that this is a beautiful trade, and I'm not in it because the algos haven't allowed me to enter it, but I'm just going to take a peek at the algos really quick and see if we got some data. Looks decent on the 3 hour, but I think price might not be done headed down. The move down was rather violent on this one. Okay, so this move down was brutal, and had this theory, and it's not just my theory, in fact it's people far smarter than me have the theory that this is a currency war, and it has to do with Japan no longer playing as the pressure relief valve for the entire world's equity system, mostly the US equity system, if my suspicions are correct, right? There's a lot of unknowns in that, but the data does point towards Japan and their carry trade acting as a liquidity source to allow for the stock market to function as it has been functioning, and they went ahead and decided to go ahead and no longer promise to continue to keep their rates hyper low, real negative rates. So that being the case, where might price go next? Let's go to a lower time frame and we'll take a look at what I think is going to happen in the price. Now again, what I'm about to discuss here might be too soon to suggest that this is going to happen, but there is a distinct possibility that the JPY could rally and head up, and the bottom is already in. However, this bottom did just occur earlier today. So this long wick down that you see, that just occurred. And there is a decent chance the price is going to continue to maybe dip a little bit deeper, but according to the algos, it may continue up. It's going to depend greatly on the Bank of Japan's policies and what they decide to do with their interest rate, whether or not they decide to step in and protect the yen. And that's really kind of an unknown. For the moment though, this is a beautiful trade, and if things remain as such, I may end up entering it once the algos tell me that I can, and then once I get past a certain point, I'll simply put the stop to entry and let it run. And as it really gets into profit, I'll shave off profit on the way. I'll be able to profit even if it ends up going back down to stop out before it hits the targets. So this really is one of my best trades of the year. I'm not in it, but if it pans out, if the algos tell me that I can't enter this, and it does look pretty good, I just, right now, based on everything I'm seeing, algos price action, it does look like we're going to see at least something like this, where price is not quite ready to go up. Something like this that we saw a couple of times already. We saw price hit hard, take a minute, and then go up. We saw here, price hit hard, even go deeper, take a minute, and then go up. And this is a monumental move. This most recent one, it's monumental. So it might take a minute before it goes up. Keep an eye on it, and I will definitely be letting the Algo Factory private members know. But if you are in our live YouTube, if you're watching live in the morning, Monday through Friday, 8:30 AM EST, and you want to see this, you can ask for it. Just come to YouTube, Rumble, or X, and ask for me to chart this, and I will do so. That's what it's there for. Ethereum. I believe the Ethereum ETF launches on the 27th of July, and Ethereum is looking strong. However, the question is it just because of Bitcoin? And I've talked about this earlier today, but the easiest way to tell is go to Ethereum Bitcoin price. Look at that chart that's comparing the two, and you'll see here that at least for the last day or so, Ethereum has outperformed Bitcoin. And if you go back to early July, technically it has been the case. It hasn't been a strong outperformance, but it has been an outperformance. Most of the time in the bull cycle, if I were to high time frame this, we would see that Ethereum does tend to outperform Bitcoin during certain times of the bull cycle. Tends to do it. And it's when Bitcoin has made its big move and then it's going to rest for a minute. And that's a lot of times where Ethereum will take over. We can see it here in 2021 as Ethereum really outperformed Bitcoin all through May and stayed up high, and then eventually Bitcoin caught up, and then we see what we saw. Also, we can see it here very pronounced back in 2017 during that bull run, and that was massive. Ethereum outperformed Bitcoin from really strongly from March all the way through June. That's 4 months. And Ethereum really outperformed it. And then again, right after the high, Ethereum went ahead and did it again because Bitcoin had made its high, sucked all the money out of the altcoins. And then when it was done, money flowed back into the altcoins. And Ethereum, once again, for about 2 months, month and a half, really slayed it compared to Bitcoin. Now, we haven't seen that as much. We haven't seen it happen quite as much this last run. And if that trend continues, then we might not see it happen very much, proportionally even less than the last bull run. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It's just looking at just a couple of data points, and just a couple of data points are not really good data science. So we're going to take it level by level. We're going to see how it goes. Let's take a look back at the chart for Ethereum and see what it's going to do, at least in my opinion. So Ethereum to the dollar right now is looking strong, and it's slightly outperforming Bitcoin, and there might be some interest in this because of the ETF coming. So I'm going to zoom in on this. I labeled out this red box on the bottom here, and that was a double bottom, and that was actually relative to the Bitcoin double bottom. And Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin for this short time right now. My guess is that some of it might be hype for the ETF launch. That's my guess. However, I'm made to understand, or at least I'm pretty sure, that these large players have already purchased or have already been purchasing Ethereum. So if we think there's going to be a supply shock because of this, it might already be in play. There's a lot of people anticipating that when the launch happens, that there's going to be a massive supply shock and it's going to keep going up, and it may very well. It's quite possible, but it's not exactly what we saw with Bitcoin. We had the ETF announcement, right? But then Bitcoin has just been having a very slow time. It was the post-halving pullback, and even though a lot of money was going into Bitcoin with these large companies, it just wasn't enough to overcome the overall metrics. And I think there's a possibility that this might happen with Ethereum as well. I do think Ethereum is a great hold long term, and I'm not giving any investment advice, but I would be very careful thinking that on the 27th, when it launches, there's going to be a massive candle up. And even if there is it going to be a candle that just gets taken right back down? It's called buy the rumor, sell the news, and I might be just leaning towards buy the rumor, sell the news. That's kind of where I'm at right now. And I hate to say that because I have good friends that are ETH maxis, and that's fine. I got no problem with that, but I just play what I see, and that's how I'm playing. Last coin, Solana. And this will be a brief look because we already looked at it this morning. Some promising price action from Solana. However, on a higher time frame, we know that Solana keeps going with lower highs while maintaining the same lows. And we've talked about this before. Price tells a story. Now, in this time in the crypto market, this could easily be counteracted, but what I'm drawing right now tends to break downward, which is what we're seeing in the price. It's a pattern, and it's called a bearish descending triangle. And the story that's being told by price is that price is trying to rally up, and it gets stopped by the bears. Comes back down, the bulls kick in again at that same level, and the bears stop it sooner. Same level for the bulls, bears stop it sooner, and the bears are advancing, and eventually this tends to break downwards. We've talked about this, we've talked about where it might go and everything. Now, what might happen though is that if Bitcoin recovers and reclaims its highs, there is a really good chance that the rest of the market will continue to buy Solana, and it'll simply invalidate this triangle, right? That can happen. It happens pretty often. Chances are that it will break down. However, because of where we are in the crypto market, there's also that chance that it won't break down. It may just simply invalidate that pattern. And we're going to have a really good idea of it if we're going by this same trajectory on average, probably on Sunday or Monday. Maybe the weekly close, something like that. Now, the weekly close yesterday closed bullish, right? So we might see another one. Price might break above. And I would say that if for the whole market, for all of crypto, if Solana breaks above this and stays above it for a week and invalidates this pattern, there is a decent probability that that means that the bulls are back and market goes up. Very, very possible. And this is because of Solana's position in the market. Because this whole bull run, aside from Bitcoin, has been mostly about Solana and about meme coins that are on Solana, at least narrative-wise. I don't want to say that about the volume. I'm pretty sure the volume-wise that's also true, but that's what I'm looking at for Solana. That's what Solana is probably going to tell me. I hope this video was helpful. Please come over to algofactory.tech. We teach people how to build their own trading method, otherwise known as an algorithm. You don't have to know how to code, but if you do code, we can put you on the path to where you can build something that trades for you while you're not at the computer. If you just want to trade manually, which is what most people are doing, then that is, of course, something that we can help you do and help you have the capability to possibly extract money out of these markets on a regular basis. And while we do focus on crypto for a lot of these videos, I'm actually primarily a Forex trader, and you got to know that crypto doesn't go forever. It goes for about a year and a half, and then for a couple of years, there's not much going on in crypto. And if you want to be a trader, you're going to want to understand how to really trade, how to put on those big boy pants, because what's going to happen is eventually crypto's going to flatten out, and the meme coins aren't going to be what they used to be, most likely. I've seen it enough times. I've been in this game since 2017. I don't expect that to change. So come on over, learn how to trade. As a matter of fact, we got some pretty happy customers who are already down the path of success in their algo building. Let's hear from one of those right now.
Hey, Cowboy V, I just wanted to give a heartfelt thanks for putting this project together. I initially joined Algo Factory a year ago, concerned about a repeat of the 2008 Great Financial Crisis and the prospect of losing my job again. Within 12 months, under V and Cowboy's expert tuition, including live reviews, I've created a profitable algorithm launched across a selection of assets. Now, facing the prospect of redundancy and a nice fat severance package to trade with, my current worst case scenario is to keep my job. Thanks again, guys. Really appreciate what you've done here.
Don't forget algofactory.tech, trade your job, upgrade your life, and we'll see you on the next one.